Welcome to the shop. I'm continuing NQALHA Production Run 5 on my new Haas Mini Mill 2. And as I continue working at it, I'm getting more familiar. I'm developing routines, practicing routines, developing habits, and not having to think as much. It's starting to feel more natural and more comfortable. The user interface still annoys me, but it's not a showstopper. I have a workaround for every problem I've found. I've added another clipboard to the side of the machine, so I have the setup sheet for the part and the setup sheet for the tool carousel, so I can further double check and cross check that everything is correct. I've already run this toolpath once, so I'm not going to be going through the detailed setup, but in general, setups are going faster. I start, in many cases, not all, in many cases I start with my old Tormach toolpath and then adjust as necessary, almost always increasing the feed, increasing the speed. And when I had a cut before that was done in multiple passes, now I do it in one pass. The HSM toolpaths, obviously I wasn't using HSM on the Tormach, so I have to start from scratch on those and take my 2D drawing into SolidWorks, make it into a 3D solid model, then take it into the CAM system, because the CAM system only does HSM toolpaths on solid models. And it took me a little while to figure out all the tricks. BobCam is not necessarily very well documented, and I think they like to sell training, but for a guy like me who can figure out anything, I just figure it out. And sometimes it takes a really long time just dicking around and experimenting and, hey, try this, oh, that didn't work, try this, oh, that didn't work. So yeah, having been in the software business for many, many years, I understand how difficult documentation is, and where do you draw the line? Do you make it as absurd as some that I've seen, where the getting started is, to get started, press the start button, and then it shows an animation of a finger pushing a start button, and then leaves out all the technical details of how you actually use the program, because the company didn't want to pay for good documentation. Even when I have to write documentation, it's not that good, because it's hard and I'm not good at it. I've seen very little good software documentation, and BobCAD is one of the worst. Not only is what's there incomplete, but there isn't much there. An awful lot of the functionality of the program just doesn't show up in the documentation at all. So and then I'm reusing, when possible, I'm reusing my tooling plates, but the tooling plates now have made several thousand parts, and some of them are getting kind of beat up, and some of the aluminum threads have kind of stripped out, and I'm probably going to place an order for some little thread inserts, helicoil thread inserts, to make my tooling plates last a little longer. But you know, I got a new machine, I got new vice jaws, I'm making a lot of new tooling plates and making them nicer, making them a ½ inch thick, using longer screws, giving the screw a little bit more chance to survive after multiple screwages and unscrewages. So I've got a new tooling plate here, and I'm set up for what I call the combo tool path, and that is, first operation is done work offset 1, G54, 0 on the ledge and on the left the left rear corner, and then the second operation is done on the tooling plate with the 0 on the top of the tooling plate and the left rear corner. Now, when I say first and second operation, in the combo toolpath, I actually run the second operation before I run the first, just because of the second operation has a lot more code, and it's easier for me to manually edit that way. So, gonna put the blank, which blank is cut on the chop saw, and then let me get the tool here. The blank is cut on the chop saw, and then deburred slightly, and okay, where's the screws-holes? Okay, I'm using aluminum washers because these are 3/8 socket bolts, and they can really tear up the aluminum. So I'm using an aluminum washer here to try to preserve the surface finish a little bit. And let me load the program here. And the program itself, I've tested. It's a known tested program, but the combo version, where I manually stuck together first and second operation, has never been run. I think it's going to be okay, but I'm still going to be standing by with the finger on the red button. So here goes. And I have an option stop set up so I can look at the tool number on the tool holder, compare it to the tool that needs to be in place, clear the option stop, make this pig oink. "250 inches per minute, 1/2 inch, 3-flute solid carbide zirconium nitride coated, special Lakeshore carbide end mill designed for aluminum." I'm carefully paying attention to the rapid feed height so it doesn't hit those very large protruding hold down bolts. And I'm also looking at spindle speed here, spindle power here, and where the HSM tool paths on my 3/8 stuff, I could take 120,000 step over and still have, I don't know, 80% spindle power. This is doing 100,000 step over for 1/2 inch thick material all in one pass, and it's pretty much at points hitting 100% spindle power. The machine isn't complaining, so I don't think that's a problem, but I'm starting to, as I continue to learn, I'm starting to explore the limits of the machine, and little bit by little bit, just pushing the limits a little bit, make it go a little faster, get the production rate up. Okay, so I'm loading the correct tool for the first operation. Looks like the combo tool path was constructed successfully. All of my new feeds and speeds are working very well, and I'm preventing buildup of chips. I don't get a rat nest of chips on my tools. This is partly because of a lot of things. The PEC cycle, the feed, the speed, the extreme coolant. I mean, this thing has way more coolant than Mr. Tormach had. And so, going to be drilling a hole here. If I wasn't narrating the video while the machine was running, I would be overcutting another blank, deburring a blank, using the Noga hand deburring tool on the first operation part that had just been made, so that I'd be totally ready to swap out parts when the machine was finished. But in this case, I'm just narrating. So, number 7 drill, 10,000 RPM spindle is my friend. Works really well. And there we have it. A beautiful part. So, I'm going to do another one and go through the entire procedure here. I don't know why, probably not that interesting to watch, but just to get an idea what it's like working in the shop. So this one would have been hand deburred ahead of time if I wasn't talking and watching, so I'm going to do a normal production cycle. Parts beautiful, surface finishes beautiful, all is well. So you can't really see the chop saw on camera, and it's not worth setting up another camera just to show the chop saw. You can pretty much guess what the chop saw looks like. So here goes a regular production cycle. Got that going. While that's going, doing a little hand deburring. Yeah, I know I could do it by machine, but hey, got nothing else to do. I do like the Noga hand deburring tools. They work well. The new shop layout is much better than the old shop layout. In the old shop layout, I had the chop saw right over here, and the welding table has a bunch of magnetic welding clamps stuck to the bottom of the table. And when I was cutting steel, the chips from the chop saw got over to the table, and all my magnets were covered with sharp steel chips. And that was really annoying. So now the chop saw chips are away from the welding table. The magnetic clamps stay clean. The chop saw is up against the back wall, and since it's kind of like parallel, the fence is parallel to the back wall, I can put a 10-foot or 20-foot long piece of stock running along the back wall of the shop, and the chop saw used to be here so that the material could go out the back door, but when it's cold or rainy or way too hot, it's nice to be able to work with all the doors closed. Also, it keeps the geeks from gawking at me, and I don't want geeks gawking at me. So the new shop layout is much better in every way. The new machine is absolutely astounding. It's a magnificent machine, and you know, I'll probably never stop complaining about the software, possibly because I'm a software engineer and I know that it can be better, and also because I've used really good software, and really good software is a joy to use. This stuff is, it's like almost like a challenge. It's almost like a game. It's like, oh, let's give you this shitty interface and see if you can make it work. So, of course, the salesman tells me people love the software, and maybe it's because other machine tools are worse, especially older machine tools. Maybe this actually is really good software by comparison. Who knows? So now it's like a Formula One pit stop. Time is money. Let's get these parts swapped out. Oh, so much for the Formula One pit stop. I don't know, do I have a chip stuck in there or something? Okay. Got 20 parts, first and second operation completed, and gonna show a little bit about how to clean up the machine. It's got some fairly interesting features built in. Let me get the last part out. And put them in the pile. So there's my pile of 20 first and second operation parts. Very convenient having the air hose right here on the machine. So got the air hose. Probably, I don't know if I'm going to get a chip stuck to the GoPro, but here's one thing that's very cool. A coolant nozzle. It's something I never had on the Tormach, and makes cleanup easy. So all the chips go into the bottom of the machine, and then way down at the bottom is a chip auger. And after I get the chips all kind of washed down, I'm going to demonstrate how the chip auger works. And of course, it wouldn't be one of the videos if I wasn't complaining about something. The chip auger is sold as a fairly expensive optional accessory, but you know, the plain fact is there's no way to clean this machine out by hand. I mean, I suppose you could if you were a real masochist and you enjoyed pain, but get Mr. GoPro out here. There is just no convenient way to manually empty the chips, and so pretty much everybody is forced to buy the very expensive chip auger. I think of it as a kind of a bait and switch, where the base machine really is almost kind of useless. But they want to be able to advertise the super low price. Okay, there it goes. The machine is pooping out chips. Oh boy, look at that. That is so exciting. I don't have to vacuum them up with the shop vac. And because of the design of the chip auger, it's got a kind of a, the chip auger comes out the bottom and then it goes uphill like that. And so as the chips are sitting there, the coolant is draining back into the tank, so you end up not throwing away a lot of your expensive coolant. So there we go. Just pooping away like crazy. So that's going to do it for today's video. I'm going to come back tomorrow. This is the end of a long day. I'm going to come back tomorrow and do the third operation and continue little bit by little bit. I'm getting very fast on this machine. I'm going to probably be able to make a run of 20 NQALHAs faster than I make the run of 10 on the Tormach. So, see you tomorrow.